Yes, yes. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Like It Ain't. We are so happy to have y'all. Peace to the brothers and sisters universally out there worldwide. What up? We are here this evening with a brand new episode, and our topic is a movie review of Judas and the Black Messiah. But before I get to that, let me also make sure to introduce my co host and special guest that we have this evening. Please, Nicole.
So,
Ladies first.
welcome everyone. Glad to be here for another episode of Like It Ain't. I'm Nicole Drew, friend of the family.
Why did she say that?
I don't know because I'm just trying to be cute, and then, but as Imani will quickly tell me, I'm corny.
Well, we're all from the same group, so it ain't corny over here. It's only corny with her age.
That's right.
Okay, who else do we have with us this evening? My other co-host.
Brother Len.
Hey, good evening to everybody. It's Len Small, aka Brother Brooklyn from the Bronx. How y'all doing this evening?
It's like Brother Man from the Fifth Flow. Brother Brooklyn from the Bronx.
Hi, everybody.
That's that dude in New York that when travelers and people, huh?
I said New York. I'm representing New York.
Of course.
You
That's
know,
that
from
guy
Braves.
that no matter where you go, there used to be that guy, a bunch of guys from New York, females too, who just knew everywhere in New York. If you were asking for directions, they knew where to send you, what subway, what stop, what the L train, and the this and the that. That I missed that in New York. I ain't gonna lie.
All of that there.
They're telling you about the history of this building and that bodega was there since they was kids and all. I missed that. Hopefully we'll get back to that someday. And last but not certainly least, my brother from another.
Vic Virtuous, aka Vic Benito, another original native Brooklyn, native from Brooklyn, New York. A little tongue tied, but yes, sir. Yeah, Flatbush, all the way from Flatbush.
Oh man,
originally,
Bush baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but I'm excited and happy to be here this evening with my lovely co-hosts, with everyone this evening tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. Let's get into it.
Yes. So let's just jump right in.
Please.
The movie. I want to get you guys' opinions. What did you think of this film, Judas and the Black Messiah? Your initial thoughts.
I'll tackle this real quick. I thought it was extremely well done. I love the cinematography, loved the outlook of the whole movie. I just kept thinking to myself, our people are beautiful. Our people are strong. Our people are passionate, prideful, skilled, well-spoken, loving, and so many other just adjectives, pronouns, everything, everything. Throw it all into the bag. But it was very insightful to me because I've always heard about the Black Panther movement, but I didn't know all there was to know about them. Still don't, but I know a lot more than I did. Man, I feel proud. I feel really proud. I thought the acting was phenomenal. My man from I keep forgetting his name, the lead actor, and he's done
Black Panther.
Black Panther, Get Out, and just so many soon to be classics, already classic movies. For him to come from where his origins, and be able to mask his accent and just completely convey, whoever he's portraying. Yes. For him to portray. Oh, that's why I left it alone. You notice I just kept going, right?
I saw you.
I got the Daniel part. The Daniel part I got down.
It's Kaluuya. But that's because I listened to the did you look at the shorts after the extras?
I caught the streaming of it. So I didn't get to watch. Yeah, I didn't get to watch that.
I didn't see that.
So Imani and I just watched. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut off.
No. Please,
Um,
anytime, go ahead. Ladies first,
it-
always.
well, we well we watched it last night,
Mhm.
and it was good. Um, but it was one of those movies where I was just like, it just left me thinking. And then I had
Mm.
to stop and watch the shorts that were afterwards. They had the commentary, and I saw Chuck D, so I was like, "Oh, well, let me see what he got to say." And he was
Mm.
on with the woman who was the fashion Mikkel probably knows, Charlize, I think is her name, Charlize something something,
I heard of.
and she did the fashion, and she was just talking about the the fashion statements that were made. It
Mm-hmm.
was the protest in itself,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole the reason they had the berets, and because that was like an international symbol. So a lot of their dress, the leather jackets, and a lot of it was symbolic.
Yeah.
But
So
you know
go ahead.
what out to me just in the very, very beginning, um,
What?
when what's his name? Williams, O'Neill, is it William
Oh,
O'Neill?
oh,
The rat?
So when he
the
right, yeah.
rat.
So when he was doing when his when the opening scene, when he's doing that first stick up, and he's using the badge, and then when they're interviewing him and they're saying, well, why did you use the badge? And he
Mm-hmm.
said, because it's scarier than a gun.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Powerful,
deep.
I
It's
mean, I
powerful
deep.
thought that
scene.
was just powerful,
Yes.
just in terms of just the current climate that, and I can't even say it's the current climate, it's an ongoing issue of police against the Black community.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was I thought that was really deep. And it just stuck
Yeah.
with me the whole movie.
Let's
Yes.
take that right there. How did y'all, because you just named a really deep moment. How did that make y'all feel as well? Like Lynn, Vic, because that was so real. Like it was like he could come in with a gun, but they would shoot back. But with that badge, they all had to bow down. He
Mm-hmm.
can rough them up, throw them around, ask questions, do whatever he wanted with that badge. And that was just deep.
Well, it goes to the point of one of KRS-One's famous songs. You were put here to protect us, but who protects us from you?
Mm.
That's part of the whole point, in my opinion, of the Black Panthers, period,
Mm,
was
yeah.
like protecting ourselves. Who do we have but our own, each other, to protect
Yeah.
ourselves? They really stood by the whole premise of Malcolm X's point of by all means necessary. Mentally, physically trained, survival of the fittest. We have to take care of our own, bottom line. Because as to Nicole's point, this is not anything new. As a majority of us know, some are still in denial that these
Yeah.
things, like this is just a thing of the past, but no, it's still alive and well today, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was really deep. Comments real quick. DJ Kava said the movie was dope. He said, real talk, the movie made me cry to see how much good that brother tried to do and end up getting murdered like that was
Heartbreaking.
heartbreaking.
Terrible.
Yeah.
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 But
And
there
so
was a
young. He was only 21.
Mm-hmm.
there
Yeah.
was a powerful scene toward the end with J. Edgar Hoover
Mm,
and the handler for O'Neill, and they were all happy because they was like, "Yo, we got him. He's going back to jail." And he was like, "Yeah, but you just make him more powerful when you send him to
Yes.
jail." He was talking about chalk outlines. You know what I'm saying? He wanted him dead.
Yes.
And he never said he wanted him dead, but he intimated it to him. Then the next scene, the handler was like, okay, I'm gonna need the blueprints to Fred Hampton's apartment,
mm,
and it was like you already knew what was gonna happen next,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
and I mean, it's a wonder that his wife and his unborn child and the other brothers and the sister survived that onslaught because according to them, 90 shots were fired.
90
And
shots.
and according to them, only one was fired
Only
by
one.
a Panther back in their direction. So that was a death squad. That was a hit squad that was sent
Yes.
to murder my man. And then to even drive the point home, they were saying, "Oh, he's still breathing." You know what I'm saying? And then they deliver, the kill shots. Like, yo, we don't need him injured. We don't need him hurt. We don't need none of that. We need him dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was the main scene to me, and the other significance of it was his coalition building. Where he reached out to the Latino community. He had reached out to the other brothers that was gang banging. He was reaching across the aisle to the quote unquote the rednecks. You know what I'm saying? And we became more powerful as a collective than just, if we have this fraction of people that are trying to fight against the system. They can't beat all of us if we unite. You know what I'm saying? Because it basically becomes a fight of the haves and the have-nots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what was also deep about that moment, Lynn, when they were shooting into the house, how his wife, fiance, covered him.
She was trying to protect him from getting hit.
Like, you know how deep that is? She's pregnant. She's pregnant. And she felt like this man and the movement
was more important. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would just say that's what women do.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at really a lot of these movements, or anything in terms of just taking care of our families, women are right there, no matter how badly they get treated, by that same man they're trying to protect.
Speak on it.
They are there and make sure that everybody else is okay. She's going to protect that baby. She's going to protect her man and make sure that family is all right.
They illustrated that too. I'm sorry. They illustrated that also because the fiercest warriors was the women comrades. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That little short.
Why were they the fiercest, Lynn? In my opinion, they were the fiercest because within the Black Panther Party, right?
Yeah, in the movie, the short sister, and when they were on the second story of the headquarters, the first shots that were sent down was by the sister. She grabbed the shotty and she was like, "Yo, if we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out shooting." You know what I mean?
I would have been like, "Are we sure?" Like she was like,
"Nah, yo," she was all in, and even when she challenged O'Neal, like, "Yo," when they thought he was a cop, she was the first one. It was like, "Yo, where's your piece at, man?"
In the passenger side,
in the passenger side, like, "Yo," and she cocked back, like, "Yo, I'm not playing with you." You know what I mean?
Because this movement is serious. And what I saw in other videos that we watched about the Black Panthers is that they upheld their women and they stepped back and allowed those women to be who they are and to exhibit their strength.
Exactly.
In a time when that wasn't the thing, not even just for Black women, for any woman, women were supposed to be like this, a Stepford wife or, subservient, when these women were like major figures, even just visually for the Black Panther movement,
Dude, to this day, everybody still knows.
What'd you say, Nicole?
Well, I was just gonna say for the month of March, we need to be doing the Black women in the movement.
Agreed.
I think
because that's Women's History Month next month.
Okay, that's why I was asking. Why were you saying March?
Okay. I think for 365 days of the year, we should do upliftment and celebration for the women. I think this should be an ongoing thing.
That's true. That's true. Someone sent me this cartoon, and it said it's little walking with a little white boy, and he's like, hey, February is your month. We're celebrating you Black History Month. And he was like, nah, that's just for y'all. We celebrate Black History all during the year.
There you go.
No, that's
there you
right.
go. There you go.
And
but
us
just
three brothers and what we do, I feel like we always try to make sure we get women involved as well to hear their voice. That's why we love having Nicole a part of this show and any other
Absolutely.
female that's here or comments, because your voice
It's just as
is
important,
really
if not more. It's if
and
not
and
more.
and
you're the
going
mother
back
of
to
civilization.
the women of the party, we still know about Angela Davis. You know what I'm saying? 50 years later, we still
Yep.
know about Tupac's mom, Afeni Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Or
I'm
Sada
saying?
Shakur. Yeah.
Or in Asada Shakur and the various sisters of the movement, it's
Mhm.
like, yo, they were right there, hand in hand, side by
Yeah.
side with the brothers. Not
Yeah.
less than, not behind,
No.
side by side, equals in the struggle.
In
You see what I'm
fact,
saying?
there was, I don't know if y'all saw this one video, I'll briefly tell it. There was a story that how am I forgetting the brother's name now? One of the co-founders of the Black Panther movement.
Huey,
No,
Bobby Seals.
Bobby Seale. Thank you. I just drew a blank. Bobby was telling a story where they had a march that went along with like this old black church. And after the march, the women of the church, they organized and made sure everybody had food to eat. So as they put the food down on the tables for all the men to eat, okay, because the men of this church were part of this march and they were hungry, so they go down and they start eating. And Bobby's like, hold on. He
Mm-hmm.
noticed all the women were like lined up against the wall, hands behind their back, just watching the men eat, letting them eat. So he said, sisters, what's going on?
Mm.
Oh, we want them to eat first because they're hungry and they've been working so hard. He said, you made the food. You have a right to eat just as much as they do. He
Mm.
made somebody, he said, brother, put that chicken down. He's like, they need to eat. They need to sit at the table with us. And
Right.
that right there encompasses exactly how they treated women. Like, that's beautiful. But they
Celebrating
were
the
called
family.
terrorists. Hmm?
Celebrating the family unit,
Family, community. They was all about that. Yet you saw how the government, and even to this day, they've always portrayed them as terrorists with guns.
That was one problem that I had with that movie, because they were talking about terrorists. This whole ideology about terrorists didn't exist back then. You know what I'm saying? That was new. That's more towards the
BLM.
90s, and now it wasn't existing back in the
Well,
60s.
no, but there's federal documentation that showed that they were calling them terrorists. They were calling
Really?
the Black Panther Party terrorists, straight up, and the FBI was, I
That's
mean.
what I came
Back
across
then.
too.
I
Yeah.
don't know about media. Maybe the media didn't do
Okay.
that yet, but they almost didn't. Matter of fact, no, they did. They were always painted as terrorists, especially
Well,
once they saw them with their guns, which ironically, most of the time, because they followed the law, their guns weren't loaded. The ammunition was always back. Well, not always, because we saw sometimes they was letting off, you know, but it was usually in the car, in the glove compartment where it was supposed to be, you
well,
know?
they changed the laws because of them. Because of them,
Yes.
Ronald Reagan, as the governor of California, when they went to the state capitol with the shotties, he was like, "Oh no, we can't have that," and
Yeah.
they enacted the Mumford Act.
Right.
You
Reagan
know,
wanted
we,
them
What
gone. Go ahead.
But what I find unfortunate is that that's how they're defined,
mm,
and then you don't get that backstory of really what they're all about, and about providing housing and food and education
yeah,
to the
yeah,
community,
yeah.
and you don't get that story as much. And I will say, I mean, I think they tried to really highlight that in this story. Um, I think it just could, it's a movie, so of course the entertainment, the action, and
Mm-hmm.
all of that, but it would be nice if the Black Panther Party could really be known for more than just, shooting guns and their rifles and berets and black leather jackets,
I think
and
that they are amongst us.
but that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms of mainstream. And my thing is about like reaching out past our community. Now, I will say our community also, the many of us don't know either. There are a lot of us that all they have is the shades, the berets, and the
yeah.
rifles.
Mhm.
And that's the image that they have. And to be quite honest, if I think of Black Panther, the first thing that comes to my mind is going to be that,
And the word
so it would be
militants.
right. And so it would be great. But then I have to, because I know more about them, then, I know that. But there's a lot of us who don't. And there's a lot of us that still do have that first image is going to be them with the rifles.
Yeah.
And of course, that, that connotes a negative image.
It can. Yeah, you're right.
But it
But
was so important for them to show the other side where they showed the brothers feeding the kids. You know, they
Right.
showed the brothers. They was like, "Yo, we can't send our babies to school on an empty stomach." You know what I'm saying? They were showing like the whole essence of the movement was to protect our community. So they were
Right.
policing the police.
yeah, the guns were the other side, if anything.
Exactly. The guns were just a tool, but the point was we're not going to allow these police to treat us any old kind of way no more. You know
Right.
what I mean? It was like, yo,
Mhm.
y'all supposed to protect and serve everybody, not just rich white business
Right.
people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be in our communities, you can't be heavy-handed against us and everybody else gets away with whatever. You know what I mean? All we ask is for equal rights, quote unquote, under the law.
Right.
And it's like the way that this country was founded, it wasn't founded with anybody other than rich white landowners in mind. You know, we weren't really a part of the Constitution because it wasn't for us. You
Right.
No.
know, when they say protect and serve, they're not talking about us. They talking about protecting and serving basically their financial interests. You know, and then
Speak on it.
their white community, and then somewhere further along the line, people of color come way down, you know, of way far away removed. But it's all about protecting and serving financial interests. Anytime you have a riot situation, what do they protect? They protect the city centers. They protect the firehouses. They protect the
The
police
money.
precincts. They protect the money. You know, they let us tear up our community all day, every day.
Oh
But
yeah.
you're not gonna go when they had the riots in LA. You're not gonna go to Beverly Hills and cut up.
No.
But they'll let you tear up South Central. They'll let you tear up Watts. But
Yeah.
they're not gonna let you tear up Baldwin Hills or some of the other affluent neighborhoods. You see
No.
what I'm saying? So now you get to a point where we tear up our neighborhoods, and then nobody comes behind to reinvest in those neighborhoods. So now we have urban deserts all over. Hell, you got Newark that hasn't been rebuilt since 68. You know what I'm saying? You got parts of LA that hasn't been rebuilt since 92. You had in Baltimore where they had my man Freddie, I forget his last name, and then
Gray.
there was
Freddie
Freddie
Gray.
Gray. They rioted in Baltimore, and I bet dimes to a donut that hasn't been rebuilt
Now, did
because
you? Go ahead.
those people that were invested in the community, the CVSs and the main blockchains, they're not going to pour good money after bad. They're going to take that insurance money and they're going to vacate. And then you have the food deserts. You have where we have facilities that are lacking. We don't have medical facilities in the community. We don't have fresh produce in the community. And all of that is because we're treated a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else comes here and they band together and they build up, whereas we're treated as second class citizens in this country still, after all black people have done to make America.
And at the end of it, it's still not even
Mhm.
ours. Not to cut you, Nicole. I'm sorry. It's not even our streets and our community. It's us as a community, but it's not even our blocks, not our homes that we own that we're tearing up.
Rentals.
Well, I was gonna to piggyback on your point, Len. I think that I thought that was another powerful moment when they, torched the headquarters,
Yeah.
and then everybody, the community, band together to come and rebuild that headquarters. And I
Yeah.
think it's unfortunate that sometimes when just what you were just talking about, where our neighborhoods don't get that same attention, but
Yeah.
sometimes we gotta do that for ourselves, and
Hmm.
we have to demand, like, what I would love to see, um when my daughter was in, like, right here in Maryland. So when my daughter was in high school here, and she was the minority in the high school, but they had an influx of, like, Blacks and Latinos that came in there. So there was a strong minority, but the non-Black people were still the majority there. But when I would go to the parents' meetings, it was me and one other Black woman, maybe
Mm-hmm.
a third.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the white parents there had Black, they were biracial children. But for the most part, where you come in and you can see someone is clearly, Black person, and the people that, because we had a separate NAACP parents diversity, they call it, well, it used to be the Black Parents Council.
Wow.
Then it turned into the Diversity Council, because then they started allowing other non-white
Non-black.
people of people of color
Mm.
to come and join that. But it was a separate council to address our needs.
Right.
And so I know that there's parents that can come out to these meetings. But I know that there's also some parents who maybe would like to, but can't, because they got to work. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you talk about having a community working together as a collective, those are the types of things where you have to have your presence there so that you can
Yes.
speak on the issue. You have to be on the
Yes.
boards and stuff like that, so you can speak up and give your child and your community a voice. And even when there's parents that can't make it there, we should, parents should really get together and say, well, what other students have, parents that can't make it because they're working or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. So make sure,
Mm-hmm.
like, you do a patient. Well, you're off tonight. Why don't you go this time and I'll go next time, or whatever,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
something
that's a
like
Right.
that,
big
where you
idea.
Right.
kind of
Right.
getting together, because it's important to have that voice, because otherwise our needs are not, our stuff is not on the table.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but anyway, my point was about I love that the community came together to
Yeah.
rebuild that place, and that's what we need to do sometimes in our own communities.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that I love the
but it's also
imprint.
a mindset.
Yes, it is. I love the imprint that the Black Lives Matter movement has left on. Um, I'm sorry, the Black Panther movement has left on the Black Lives Matter movement. Because the Black Panther movement, these were young people. We were saying that earlier.
Mm.
Fred Hampton, 21 years
21
old.
years old, yeah.
A lot of the people that was enrolling, 18, 19 years old. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the older folk, if you notice, you weren't really seeing the older folk in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Because they were doing other things. Like Nicole was saying, the parents can be the ones at these board meetings and things like that, while you have these young people on the front lines. And I feel like that's what's happening right now with the Black Lives Matter movement. They're beyond just protesting or just marching or just screaming about the injustices. They have plans, they execute, and things are happening. It's sure, it's progress. It's a start. But I
Mhm.
really am encouraged by it, me personally.
You also have to
Even
understand that
okay.
the Panthers were an outgrowth of the civil rights movement.
Mm,
So the reason why it wasn't really about the old heads, because They had watched the old heads do their thing in the early '60s, in the late '50s. They watched Dr. King. They watched Asa Philip Randolph. They watched Reverend
Malcolm X.
Abernathy. They watched Malcolm X, and they watched it to the extent where, yeah, they got us to a certain place, but we're still suffering in our communities. Now, we as the young folks, we're going to take it, we're going to take that baton, and we're going to go forward. And the way we're going to add our brick to the building is we're going to protect the community. We're the young lions, and we're going to make sure that everybody's protected.
Yeah.
Because they took away from us our Malcolm. They took away from us our Medgar Evers. They took away from us Dr. King. They took away from even the Kennedy brothers. They took away from us those people that were going to help the community go forward. So the Panthers and even the Bloods and the Crips, they were an outshoot of the end of the civil rights movement. That's why it was so important for the FBI and the powers that be to destroy that from within, because they couldn't allow those brothers to be as powerful as they were becoming.
Right. Well, see, I agree with you, but I think the thing also is because the civil rights movement and Malcolm, they're two different things, obviously. But I feel like they were inspired by the civil rights movement and what Martin did, but they fell into the doctrine of what Malcolm was doing. Sorry, not Martin. What Malcolm was doing, you know, that whole by any means necessary and bearing arms and all of that stuff. So they kind of took the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
You know, and ran with it. But to me, why they were so dangerous and why the FBI really was like, we have to take them out, wasn't because, they might get as powerful as Martin and Malcolm. They were going to be more powerful because these people were trying to unite all the disenfranchised. That's the thing. Because you know how easy it is for our movement, for us to be focused on us. Because there's so much to deal with. We almost don't have the mental bandwidth to say, okay, and white people, and disenfranchised women, and gay, and yada, yada. But they were like, nah, are you kidding? This is classism.
Exactly.
Racism.
Exactly.
And this is one of the points I feel like they try to discredit even now with BLM, Black Lives Matter movement, is the fact that they have two founders being women who are lesbian.
Three,
excuse me. So yeah, that's one of the things that I thought of with learning more about the Black Panther Party and watching the movie, was just to your point, John, earlier about them referring to them as terrorists, and anything that tries to, elevate and unify the movement and to move past the struggle is always going to be a discredit. They're always going to try to shift us back or shift us, bring us down, no matter what the, our cause and our agenda is. For a better move, better us as a people. You understand? Whether it's from lesbian, black, male, whoever, and unifying even other races. Like that was one of the most powerful things with the BLM movement and this whole, protesting after George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, was that you saw the black people, you saw Asians, you saw brown, and whoever unifying. So that's
you saw the Rainbow Coalition.
Yes,
and that's not to be funny. You saw because
no, it definitely is.
My man Jesse Jackson, they say he coined it, but they were talking about a Rainbow Coalition in the movie.
Sampled it.
You know what I mean? I feel the same way you feel, John, that he sampled it.
And Jesse's been he's been a historical sampler, but that's a whole other story.
That's another story. But they embodied it because they were reaching for this community. They were reaching for that community. And when the numbers started growing, you can't just because in the movie, Brother Hampton said something to the effect of, what's more important, the revolution or the revolutionary? You know what I'm saying? He was like, this is bigger than Fred Hampton. You know what I'm saying? And that's when he took the money and he was like, nah, take this money and build a health center in the community and name it after our fallen brother. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
did some research. That medical center still exists in Chicago today.
Oh wow.
You see what I'm saying? That's legacy right there.
That's what I'm talking
Yes.
about.
And
Right.
for that young man at 20 to have the foresight to look at his situation and be like, nah, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than the people that I'm standing in front of. You know what I'm saying? It's about them babies and the kids that those babies are gonna have going forward.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? He was trying to make the best out of a bad situation. And that young man was one heck of a leader, man.
As a kid,
As a
Yes.
21-year-old, I
what were
know
we
Right.
doing at
Right.
20,
I
21?
wasn't
Right.
doing
No,
nothing
not
like
at-
that.
no,
I was
no.
swinging
I
for
promise you.
half
Yo,
dressed.
Len, let me ask
And
you.
and you had a lot of, college educated young youth. I mean, young women and men. It wasn't just like we coming from the streets and, I mean, they were there, they were educated, they were smart, they were together. I mean, it was just a powerful movement. And really, I think if I had to critique anything in it, I really I liked the movie but it was just like when I came, and not a but, just my first reaction when it was over, it was like, and maybe it was just because of the way they assassinated him,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
maybe it was just like, dang,
Yeah.
just,
Did y'all?
you just kind of left you like empty, like, wow.
Yeah.
What got me was when O'Neal in the interview Eyes on the Prize 2, he was like, yo, so what would you tell your son, when down the line they ask about you, and he was like, yeah, that you could tell him that I was a part of the struggle. It's like, what?
I was thinking the same thing, like, you a part of what?
What? Part of the struggle.
But like, in the end, and they talked about how he remained in the Panther Party until, I think the early 70s.
Yeah.
So clearly still being an FBI informant, and I mean, I just felt like you were part of it. Okay. I mean, I guess, you helped,
That's the
give
lie.
out some cans of food or something. Maybe that's how he felt he was vindicating
That's to
himself.
help
But he
sleep.
actually,
Exactly.
what?
That allowed him to go to sleep at night.
But you know what? He wasn't sleeping. He was still feeling guilty because he committed
tormented.
suicide after that.
Yes,
He
indeed.
committed suicide day after the documentary aired.
Day after the document, right? Yes.
So
And,
he saw himself, and he
saw
couldn't deal.
himself.
He couldn't
Right.
deal with
He saw
what he had
himself.
done.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like that's the other thing. These kids, these Panthers were so young. They were on point with the movement and what they were doing, but there were gonna still be gaps because they're young. And to me, some of those gaps were these old grown white folk in the FBI who were putting these informants in there. Because then there was another informant, the Asian dude, Richard Ioko, I think his
Yeah.
name
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Um,
He was the one that supplied them with the guns.
right.
Richard Aoki.
Yes.
I just saw YouTube about him earlier today. Yeah, it's
Yeah. Let me hold on a second. This dude, Richard Aoki, he supplied them with the guns. The guns that famously we see in pictures and magazines, and that the guns were a big deal. So if he's an FBI informant, how is he getting them guns? Because the FBI was trying to get rid of them and stop them from having guns. You know what I'm saying? So there was just all these weird elements, and then he commits suicide as well. So it's like, it's deep. It's just deep. It's deep that these informants committed suicide.
I mean, I would just, the first thought that came to my head was, you give them these guns so that you have this visual that these people are terrorists, these people are dangerous, these people are people that are not doing good in the community. We need to get rid of them.
Yeah, but he didn't plant the seed.
And now we're justified in killing them.
Killing everyone.
Because he didn't,
You
but he
know?
didn't plant the
So
seed of saying, let's get guns. They went to him like, hey, can't you get us some guns? And he's like, oh, no, Dad, I got you, blah, blah, blah. You're right. You're probably right, Nicole. It's just,
I mean, I don't know if I'm right.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying that's the first thought that comes to my mind. If you know, some official is trying to, and I'm not saying that they were.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that they were. I'm just saying that it's just a thought. You know, like Arsenio Hall used to say, things that make you go,
It's funny. It's funny though, and I just thought of something. 25 years after the Panthers, here comes Tupac, and Pac said, "You know what? I might not lead this generation to the revolution, but I'll guarantee you that I'm going to spark the thought in the next group that's going to go forward." And 25 years after that, here we are with BLM.
Yeah.
And the new Black Panther Party.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's funny how this thing, it goes in cycles.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mikkel said, put out your disclaimer, Esquire.
Yeah, well, just in case. The views expressed here are that of my own personal views, and no one else.
etc., etc.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, before I get myself into trouble.
Yeah. But you know, anytime you put the word black in front of your movement, you got Black Panthers, Black nationalists, Black Lives Matter. They were all considered terrorists. Black Wall Street, they got rid of that. They burnt that to the ground like it never existed. They're always considered a threat. I mean, you can come out and say black pillows. This is this black people that love pillows and
black cats.
You would still be a terrorist for loving pillows and being black.
Black
But,
cats
you know,
bring bad luck.
Well, you know, it's like the badge, you know, the badge versus the gun. So, you know, but I think that we're starting to dilute the negativity of that name. And now, because I heard something recently where instead of saying African American, people are just saying, look, we're black. All right. Just say black.
I'm still trying to get past
And
that
I think maybe people are just accepting that now.
Yeah.
Well, I've always said that because Emmanuel Alcho, or however you pronounce his last name, he brought this point up in his Uncomfortable Conversations. He said not everyone is from African descent. So, you know, it's not everyone feels comfortable being called African American.
And not everyone is from a package of crayons.
I've heard that.
Right. And not everyone
colors.
Everybody is not comfortable being called black. They don't want to identify as being black. So there's a conundrum.
Do we go back to colored?
I mean, if you
look at right here, there's a whole color.
Truth be told, I've always had an issue with this thing. Not an issue, but like people of color. I've never rocked with that. To each his own. Whoever wants to say it, it kind of brings me back to that colored people or coloreds, and there's a multitude of different colors. Like if you want to label and
like,
you know,
call me king.
The problem is we don't control the narrative.
No, we don't. Definitely don't.
You see, because last summer after George Floyd got killed, they watched hours and hours of demonstration, right? And protesters, but peaceful protesters all of a sudden became rioters. You know what I'm saying? You take the acts of a few and you take a broad brush and you paint everybody with that brush. You know what I'm saying? So now everybody that was in the protest was a rioter until January 6th came, where you saw what a real riot looks like. And those people became protesters. You know what I'm saying? They weren't rioters. They weren't
called good Americans.
They weren't terrorists. They were called patriots.
No, no,
Patriot.
they were special people. They were special
You
people.
know what I'm saying? And we love you. You know what I'm saying? So
When I hear that word patriot,
wait
I'm
a
like,
minute.
have that. You call somebody a patriot, I'm looking at them suspect.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we don't control the mainstream media and that narrative where they can just paint you into a certain corner and this is what you are until you have the power to program that.
Right. I think that
Well,
we do
you said.
control the narrative now, actually. Me personally.
Well, I was just going to say that Len just said something more, very powerful.
Didn't.
That I mean, I think that we have. I think that I agree that we have to control the narrative. And the thing is, we have to control the narrative. How do
Yeah.
you control the narrative? You need to start owning the narrative.
There you go, sis.
Owning
There you
the
go.
media.
There you go. We gotta own our own media outlets, and we gotta give strength to our media outlets, man. Do y'all remember when BET actually had news in the evening?
Yes. Wow. Seems so far and long ago, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How significant that was, and we poo-pooed it way back when because it's like that's not like network news, whatever. Now we don't have a black face to news, to our news, to the issues that concern us. And I'm not talking about Don Lemon and those people that they
You don't
put.
like Donald? Sorry.
Don't get me started. You know what I mean? Because they don't speak.
Good co-hosts.
They don't speak to our issues, though. You see what I'm saying? Like, that was back when BET was really black entertainment television.
Yes.
Right.
Now it's just the offshoot of Viacom.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So they're not going to look at stuff from a black perspective. We got to go back to owning our own
It's
media
not black
outlets.
owned, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Your boy Johnson sold that long ago.
We have to own a mindset. Because there are a lot of black entities right now who own or have black media or are trying to put out, looking like it ain't. We're trying to do the same thing as well,
Yeah.
But
I was just
the
thinking
thing
that.
that we're battling is the mentality.
Exactly.
Because I can post something on Facebook of Jay-Z or somebody known, I will get 1 million people commenting. People that I even forgot was friends on my Facebook page. I'm like, who are you? But let me post something about like it ain't. It's crickets.
Yeah. Crickets.
And we have to not listen. You like what you like. You don't. What
It'll
you don't.
grow.
You have a choice.
I mean, Johnson didn't.
Hmm?
Johnson didn't start. With 1 million and 1 followers. Right away.
No question.
So it'll start, and I think it's.
And it is building.
It'll grow. On its own. It'll grow.
But not just.
But I agree with you. Like, I understand what you're saying, right? Because
not even just ours. It's other shows too. Other people that are doing things need to be highlighted. That's why I love having y'all on this show, because each of you, the 3 of you and myself, we have done things or continue to do things that help our immediate family and the community. And hopefully we set an example for somebody. 50 years from now, hopefully somebody can go back and see this on YouTube, if it still exists, and see what was going on. They don't have to go to the news or a history book, because they're going to tell it incorrectly.
They're going to purposely tell it incorrectly.
Lynn, it's to what you were saying about controlling the narrative. The phones help control that now, partially, because look at all the times these Karens have called the cops on somebody. And if it was just their story, who knows what would have happened? Police brutality. But when it's filmed and it's on the phone and it goes on social media, it spreads.
Yeah, they can't control that part.
So it's a start. It's a step in that direction. But anyway, any things y'all want to?
I had a question for Lynn real quick. Upon your research with the center, what is it being utilized for now?
Oh, it's still it's serving the community as a medical center, and it's named after that brother. Is Jake something? I forgot. I think it's Jake Weathers or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he named it,
wasn't it?
he named it, and I googled the name and looked at it, and it's still in service in Chicago to this day. And it said that it was derived from the Black Panthers. So
Okay.
it's
And his son, Fred Hampton Jr. is the chairman still of he's the chairman of the Black Panther Party there.
mhm.
Good.
If the Chicago affiliate.
Did y'all know that when Fred Hampton got killed, the police didn't shut off the crime scene for like 12 days? And for
No, I
those
didn't
12
know.
days, the Black Panthers were bringing people in to look at the scene,
Mm,
to show
mm,
them this is what's happening.
mm.
This is what happened here. Don't let them tell you the wrong story. Look at these 89 shots in the wall.
Right, right, right,
Look who's gone. Did
right.
the police get shot once? Because they're talking about all these other shots fired from us. Where's their injuries?
Hmm.
Could you imagine? Like that. That's how deep and dedicated they was. Because I
Hmm.
saw a video where it was like a tour. And they showed the bed where Fred Hampton was, and you could see the blood. And the young brother was like, yeah, this is where they blew his brains out. You know what I'm saying? And blah, blah. And I'm just like,
Wow.
deep.
That's almost the same as when Emmett Till's mother made the decision to have his casket an open casket. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Now,
Yeah.
nobody would want to see their child in that condition. But she was like, nah. She was like, nah. They did this to my baby. The whole world is going to look at this. You know what I'm saying? And
You,
that was such a powerful thing to this day to
Yeah.
see that brother in that casket in that condition based on what was said that he did, and come to find out that it was all a lie.
I've never seen it personally. I've never seen anything like it, and it brings me back to whoever was talking earlier about. I think it was you, Len, about his fiance. Just my heart truly goes out to that woman. I can't imagine being there and seeing or knowing that my wife is right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shielding her, trying to protect her from getting killed, knowing what these people are about to do, and not feeling that rage to want to retaliate and seek vengeance even after that event took place.
Because
You
they
see, and
interviewed her right
he was
after.
drugged,
And-
so he
and
was
that's my whole
drugged,
that's my
so he
thing
couldn't
with
even react.
that's my thing with everything that we've been through for years. That still invokes that passion and that anger out of me to this day. And when I hear people with their condescending responses and complete denial that these things even exist to this day, infuriates me. So when I see a person like a John Lewis who died way beyond what I could imagine myself being, like as peaceful and as reluctant to resort to violence as he was, and considering what happened to him and his family throughout even the time that he marched and when he was beat down in the street, I don't know personally if I could have, done what he did, honestly.
Right. Yeah.
So hats off
There's
to
a
him,
lot.
because that's into the wife of Fred Hampton. I don't know if I could have done it,
All of
honestly.
And the crazy part about her, and I think it was portrayed beautifully by the sister, she knew it was coming. She wrestled with the fact that she was bringing this baby into the world,
Yeah,
but
man.
she knew that somehow, some way, they was going to kill Fred. You know what I'm
He
saying?
probably knew too.
Yeah.
He,
I
he
think he
knew.
had.
They had that scene where you talking about all of this. They can kill the revolutionary. Well, where does that leave us? Her and the baby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And she was struck by that, but then she came around to the point where she saw his viewpoint as of they can kill the revolutionary, but they can't kill the revolution.
Well,
that's how she.
did you see?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, I
That's-
was gonna say about where she was looking at the pictures of what's Martin Luther King's wife?
Coretta
Coretta Scott King, and I think Betty Shabazz. I think I thought Coretta Scott, but I think Betty Shabazz was the one that was on top. But there was another picture. But it was interesting that she was looking at that, and it was, I don't know if that was for the
I'm sure it was
embellishment of the movie itself, or
yeah.
if she actually was, but looking at, these are women who had to be the wives of the struggle,
Yeah.
of the movement.
Yeah.
And just to just try to connect with them, to say like, okay, having that realization that that's me now, I'm that Betty Shabazz,
That's
or
deep.
I'm that Coretta Scott King.
Yeah.
That's
And now
deep.
how do I deal with this?
Because the movement gets put in some cases, it seems like the movement gets put before their love.
Right.
And male or female, forget about just women. That's tough for that. That's a tough pill for the average person to swallow. They may say it, they'll do it in conversation, but when the moments come up, come on.
You know what? It's tough, and I may be, a bit off in using this as an analogy, but it's almost like a rape victim going to the person who allegedly raped them and admit to what they did to them in hopes of helping the next person who could potentially be raped or taken advantage of afterwards, because they understand the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's not easy.
The beautiful thing that came out of this was Fred Jr. You see what I'm saying? She struggled with the fact that she was going to lose Fred, but she was able to carry Fred Jr. to term, and Fred lived on in Junior. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was a continuation of the work. The work never stopped, even though they tried to kill the leader of the revolution. The work didn't stop. It might have went sideways for a little bit, or it might have stalled a little bit, but it still has gone forward. And that was the beautiful part to it.
I wonder how much of that was actually true, because there was the point in the scene when they were actually, after they killed him and they pulled her out and saw she was pregnant and said, "Oh, we have a son coming,"
I'm surprised,
and pointed a gun at her stomach,
I'm surprised. Yeah,
and
I'm really surprised.
And I know that Daniel Kaluuya, I think I remember that's the name, the way he pronounces it, and he was saying that he spent a lot of time with them, doing research with on the character, and spent time with the family, with the mother, Fred Jr., and just, so I'm wondering how much of that was for the movie itself, just for the entertainment value, or those little
Well, the fiance, in an interview that I saw with her, she was saying she was so frightened and at the same time aware of, if she makes any just little move, she was like, I didn't even take the moment to close my blouse, my nightgown.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? As a woman, that's serious. You know what I'm saying? Because she felt like doing this or doing anything may make them blah, 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 blah. So she came out like this with whatever was in her nightgown. She didn't care at that moment because she understood what was going on. Total focus in the moment. When you just heard a moment ago, these guys come into the bedroom that your husband was in, talking about boom, boom, boom. He's good and dead now. And you're still total focus. Even in the interview afterwards, it's on YouTube. She was interviewed the night it happened. She was calm. She was speaking eloquently. I was like, how is this happening?
Yeah, man. Wow.
But I think that's part of that strength you get when you kind of realize who you are, like what your purpose is now, and it goes back to what I'm talking about, where she's like channeling. I don't know if she talked to them or she just had their pictures, channeling that energy of those women of the movement, those the wives of the movement, and just having that realization that this is I'm the one, you know, I'm carrying the legacy right now.
Mhm.
So, you know, I'm wondering if she oh yes, that's right. She did say that.
Yeah.
And that she hopes she would one day be like Malcolm. I thought that
Yeah.
was a good the reason that she gave, that was another powerful point to me as well. But I'm wondering, I was gonna say, I don't know if there's anything on YouTube, any interviews or anything, but I was wondering, um, oh yes, he felt like he was never rattled. Uh, if she confront or she had any conversation with O'Neill, you know,
After the
like
fact.
after the fact, like after learn, I mean, I guess he killed himself right
Yeah.
after the taping, but I'm just wondering if there was any, or after the release of the Eyes on the Prize, I'm wondering if there's any point, because Eyes on the Prize came out later, much later than when he left the Panther
Yeah.
Party.
Decades.
Yeah,
So there's,
it
she
came
must
out
have
in the late
known at some
'80s.
point. So she must have known, like she must have been told at some point, right, that
Yeah.
he was this, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering if she's ever had a conversation with him, you
No.
know.
I wonder too. I'm sure she probably didn't.
Is Len frozen?
No.
No,
He's just
no,
listening.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
listening intently.
Oh wait,
That's the,
oh wait! It
he's
took
like,
like 2 seconds before he even said, like, no.
like, if he don't blink, it's a problem. He out there in Texas. You know they over there freezing.
Yo,
By the way,
hilarious.
big up to the Smalls family. Y'all out there in Texas holding it down,
Yes.
making it happen.
How are you
Even
doing?
my mama was asking about y'all. We pray for everyone out there, but me personally, I am specifically thankful and praying for the Smalls family out there and all their loved ones that are dealing with this BS in Texas.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all immensely, man. We had calls, we had posts, we had texts from all over the world, literally, for people
Mhm.
checking in, and yeah, we good. You know, I
Yeah,
come from good stock,
Hey,
so it is
yeah,
what it is. Lights, no lights, cold, no cold, snow, no snow, whatever. We gonna make it happen regardless, man.
yeah.
But
hey,
We're
thanks for
gonna.
the sentiment,
you'll
man.
always have that support, brother, because it's the energy that you put out into the universe that comes back to you. So your
I
prayers are
appreciate it,
always
bro.
with you, always,
I
always.
appreciate it. I appreciate the love, man.
I would have.
Thank you.
I would have sent you a singing telegram, but they said it was too cold, and they wasn't trying to sing "I Feel for You" from Shaka Khan. I feel for you.
nah. John, it's
I
too
know it's
soon,
cold,
John. It's too soon, man. It's too soon.
but you would have loved that though. If somebody were to ring the doorbell and be
Yeah,
like, "I
I would
feel
have
for
been.
you,"
What the hell?
I'd have been like, "Make
Do
sure
they
you
still
feel."
have those?
Oh my god.
Do they still do those? I did that for
No,
someone.
Oh man.
that's so old school.
And then
That
Yeah.
is my man gonna be 6 feet, and is he gonna have a mask?
I'm just saying.
So all you're gonna hear
Right. And you're gonna be like, "What'd you say?"
what?
Hold on. I think I love you. Oh, okay, I know that song. John sent you, didn't he?
You
Okay.
know what I mean? It
Oh,
gotta be one of my crazy friends, man.
it gotta be. This one in
Oh
particular.
man, you know,
And
but
shout out to James, my dude Jay, Lynn, Jay's on the line. He said, "Hey, my guy L."
oh snap! What's up, Jay? Love is
Jay said,
love.
"What's good?" So we're obviously about to wrap up, but before we do, I wanted to real quickly play this video. It's like a 3-4 minute video of D'Angelo having a conversation with Bobby Seale.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, and the significance of it for me is. Or can we do that? Okay. The significance of it for me is that we know we're about to do another episode of Super R&B at the end of this month. Next week, That's
Now
D'Angelo.
he's fully clothed in this interview, right?
Yes. Listen, that would be real awkward if he's interviewing Bobby Seale with his shirt off. Bobby's just sitting there like, brother.
And he all oiled up. He flexing all oiled up and whatnot.
Brother.
It's like, my man.
You know.
trying not to look at my man. Like, could you tone that down a little bit, man?
I said power to the people, not power to the pecs.
You know what I mean?
D'Angelo talking about how does it feel?
Hey, the interview is called Untitled.
This don't feel right. This feels wrong, Michael. He called him by his government name.
You know what I'm
Michael.
saying?
This feels wrong, Michael.
Right.
This ain't when we march. We was not marching for this.
You know what I'm saying? Hell no. Hell to the no.
You put your shirt back on, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Please.
I was just saying, Malcolm X. No, brother.
Nah, B.
But yes, please cue the video so we can see it, and then we can speak about it briefly, and then we'll head out for the night.
7,000 people in that auditorium jumped up, applauding. I was totally inspired by that man, Dr. King. He talked about we got to end racist discrimination and all these people in companies around America that won't hire black folks. And all across America, Wonder Bread Company refused to hire any people of color. He says, and we're going to have to boycott them. And we want to boycott them so consistently and so profoundly, we want to make Wonder Bread wonder where the money went. I like that, Dr. Martin. I said, a preacher doing that,
Wow.
that was powerful to me.
That's the thing, because back then, the difference was, in my opinion, the leadership. Y'all won't consider nonviolent. Martin Luther King was nonviolent. So the fact that you were influenced by him, I never knew that. When I hear you speak about the Panthers, about how the media sensationalized the guns and all of that,
Yeah.
y'all were trying to capture the imagination of the community, but a lot of people got carried away with that, and the real essence of what y'all was doing was the programs like the free breakfast for
Programs get to the issue, start solving the problem. The concept of the Breakfast for Children program spread it beyond the Black Panthers activities. That was the power of it. That was the key. That was the key, man. And we said, all power to all the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. Boom, 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 boom. Power to the people. Right on. What they got in their hands, the old man say. And this big, tall, black guy says, they got guns in their hands, man. Be quiet. So the police officer was somewhat out in the street a bit. Cops had his hand on his hip. You have no right to observe me. And Huey says, no, California State Supreme Court ruling states that every citizen has a right to stand and observe a police officer carrying out their duty as long as they stand a reasonable distance away. A reasonable distance in that particular ruling was constituted as 8 to 10 feet. I'm standing approximately 20 feet from you and we'll observe you whether you like it or not. And the tall black dude over there, he says, man, what kind of Negroes is these? Because he had never seen a disciplined group of people standing there with guns and another one sitting here reciting the law to the cop.
Yeah. There's so many parallels that's going on, and it's the same fight with the police. There's a song on the album called The Charade, and it specifically speaks to the Oscar Grants and the Trayvon Martins and the Michael Browns. We did that because ain't nobody talking about nothing. The music that's coming out now, everybody's talking about, you know, how many drugs you sold, or how many bottles of champagne they popping at the club. And ain't nobody talking about no real shit. So I know for a fact that the music back then, in that day, it fed the movement. We as artists, I really feel like we got a responsibility. These kids, they paying attention to us. They looking at us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to say about that before we go? Any impressions or thoughts? Or
I mean, I think it just for me, it was saying the same thing that I was saying earlier. The sensationalism of the guns was more prominent than the real reason that they existed. And that was to take care of the community with the programs. And I would love to see that story get out more. And I know it's not, the fancy entertainment and everything, but I would love to see that story being told more than they were about. Now being a lawyer, I guess, I don't know if this is why it resonated with me, but in any event, I don't think you need to be a lawyer to know the law, but I love that they were smart and they knew the law, because you got to know the law.
yeah,
Taken advantage by the law.
Huey was a law student. Yeah.
That piece right there just reinforces sorry, what I was thinking in regards to controlling the narrative. The brother was saying, yeah, we had guns, but it wasn't about the guns. It was about the programs. It was about the community. It was about what we were trying to reach in terms of our goals. And people saw the guns and they gravitated towards that. And they thought that the movement was something that it really wasn't. The guns were just a means to an end, but they weren't the end all to be all. It wasn't all about brandishing weapons. That was just part and parcel of what they needed to do to get to that end. But it was about the work that they were doing. The work was the important part.
Yeah. Vic, anything you'd like to say before we go about the video?
First off, shout out to the brothers in the video. Shout out to D'Angelo. I don't know whose idea it was to create and put that out into the universe, but it was definitely needed and much appreciated. Especially for me as an artist, MC, I feel like it spoke to me on that level of what I could do with my words, my impact to my community, my people. And I felt like D'Angelo was the voice in my head that just continue on with what was built before us for the next generation. You know what I mean? Like it's in a sense our duty and obligation, because with his gifts, with my gifts, it would be an injustice not to continue on or to teach or do right by our people, our children, with our messages. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to do, and it's to each his own. Everybody has their own whatever they like to listen to, vibe out to. But I just would love to see more of a balance, hear more of a balance. So
you put an album out?
Yeah, I knew it was coming from either you or Len. I knew it was coming.
Hey, I'm standing strong on that square. When does the project drop? That's all I want to know. You can talk all you want. Just when does the album drop, brother?
And look, you already gonna get a guest appearance from Nene, MC Nene. She gonna make a guest appearance on one of the songs. Lynn gonna beatbox on one or two.
Take that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nicole?
I was gonna offer Imani to sing background, sing little vocals.
But we
That
need
would-
the
that would
OG.
be-
We need the OG.
I wasn't thinking about MC Nene.
Hey,
Hey, she's coming out of retirement for
yeah,
a one-time engagement.
hey, and
Uh-huh.
it would be an honor. It would be an honor and an inspiration, man. I'm telling you, that would be even more of an incentive to put some more content and music out. So by all means, I welcome
Yeah.
y'all.
Well,
John,
we're
what
gonna
did it mean
end
to
for
you? No.
Yeah,
What did it mean to
yeah.
you?
You can't
what
let
does
you
what
off
mean
the
to
hook.
me?
Yeah,
Oh,
come
the
on.
video.
The video,
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna comment. I was gonna say we're gonna get ready to wrap up, but within
Okay.
that, I want to say, to me, I thought it was really amazing to see both of these very powerful brothers openly share. Like Bobby was talking about how he was inspired by Martin.
Mhm.
And because of, like Nicole was talking about, these narratives that were pushed before, like with the guns, the narrative that because they were so much more visually, it seemed like Malcolm,
Mm-hmm.
they tried to make it like they were against Martin.
Mm.
But they never were. They were inspired by him, like Lynn said, like he said. So I loved that video, and I loved it that D'Angelo spoke about artists and artistry and
Mm-hmm.
really saying something, like Vic said, because that speaks to me as well.
Mhm.
You know, whether you're singing, rapping, doing a show called Like It Ain't, any of that stuff, we need to shine and support each other. Yeah, I had an idea, but I'll talk to y'all about that later. Yeah, I've been wanting to do like a monthly thing with Like It Ain't, where we do one episode a month where we just discuss black cinema,
Mm.
Mm.
black TV shows, black movies, and we may take one or two for each episode and just discuss that. Um, because like you guys were talking about the narrative, I feel like our generation feels like, yeah, we need to see more of this. But if we just went on the internet and looked, we would see a lot of it is being pushed right now
Mhm.
in a really major way. I'm saying through Hollywood and through online media. Like when I looked up Black Panthers, I saw a bunch of videos pop up, and some of them were young people hosting these little videos about the Panthers, you know?
Mhm.
And I'm encouraged by that because we need more of that, like you guys were saying. Anyway, we're gonna just end for the night because we can keep talking about the Black Panthers all night.
Can I just say,
No doubt.
all right, I'm
Like,
gonna just say one thing about the video.
please.
Was anyone else distracted with the like I don't know if the shocks were bad or it was like a bunch of or is that just a Cali thing with the car?
It was a low rider, D'Angelo was hitting switches on him.
Yeah. And what's crazy is Bobby was the one driving. D'Angelo was sitting shotgun, so Bobby was hitting them switches.
Oh
He's like,
my
as long as you
goodness.
keep your shirt on, brother, you're gonna keep hitting them switches. I said, on.
I can't with you.
He's
I
like,
can't.
how does it?
I'm done.
Yeah. Every time D'Angelo starts swinging, we're gonna hit them switches.
Hey, you see this? You see
You
this?
tapping out?
I'm tapping out, man. I'm tapping out.
Yeah. We all should tap out. So anyway, peace, love, and hair grease. We'll
Amen,
catch
brother.
you next week. Peace.
Peace.
If your hair is short and TCB will make it happen. I'm gonna end up getting an endorsement from TCB eventually. I keep mentioning them every week. Peace.